everybody. Welcome to Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Jennifer Gadberry Hadris, and this is our board member, Bernie Austin. She is our volunteer coordinator, and we're here to welcome you to the center.
And good morning. Welcome to you all. It's nice to see you all here, and it's great that it's not raining. I'm so happy. So I'm just back from vacation and a little pause-centric in my brain. So I'll see you all later.
Well, I think we're supposed to have everybody find somebody you haven't met yet and tell them what brought you to the center today and what you're hoping to get out of today's message. And we're going to let you talk amongst yourselves for a bit. I love a lively group. Thank you for all being willing to share. And now I'm going to invite the choir to come up because they're going to gently fill in while Mr. Bill gives us our youth and family message. So any of the youth, if you want to come down for the youth message as well, we're going to invite everybody down here, apparently.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
As Jennifer said, I'm Bill Hadris with Youth and Family. Question to start out this morning. Who remembers the golden rule? I see a lot of people that remember. Do you know what it is? Yes, I think I heard it. It's a simple message. It's a common thread of truth in almost every faith tradition. The golden rule invites you to treat others the way you wish to be treated. Have you ever noticed that when someone bullies you or speaks harshly to you, that it can kind of leave you feeling small and sad? But if someone is kind to you, it can brighten your day. And if you are kind to someone else, that it ripples, inviting them to share kindness too. Why do you think that is? Love grows. Well, I believe it is because there is one life running through everything. We are all part of this one life. We are one person, individualized. So that means you are extraordinary. You are God. You have the choice and power to spread love everywhere, every moment. So what will you choose to do today? I invite you all to repeat after me. My thoughts have power. I choose kindness.
My thoughts have power. I choose kindness.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to have our practitioner, Linda Dravidstead, as the kids are leaving. Linda Dravidstead's going to do our invocation.
So everyone, just take a deep breath. Center yourself in your seat, whether you're online or here in our sanctuary. Knowing you're in the best place to be for this particular moment in time. And knowing that this moment in time is filled with love, divine acceptance, divine freedom, and the love of each person for themselves, for the divine, and for each person on the planet. And I know for me and for everyone online and here that the message today is heartfelt, helping us each to grow in our divine connection with boundaries with love, and knowing that as we hear the message, our heart is touched, and we take that message into our heart and then into our own lives, and then into our own world and our own connections with others, with families and friends and store clerks and everyone that we come in contact with. We take that message in our hearts and let it flow out. I'm so grateful for everyone here who is participating in the service, our wonderful choir director, pianist, all the parts that bring you joy with music, all the servers who bring you wonderful nourishment after the service, all the technicians that bring you the online service so that you can be there in your jammies and enjoy all of this. I'm just so grateful for all the practitioners that serve, for everyone here who serves by just being here and communicating in this community of love. And as I know the service unfolds with grace and ease and peace and delight, I release my words into the divine, knowing they are so, and together we say, and so it is.
Staying centered into that heart space that Linda so beautifully brought us to. Staying in that open-hearted state. Hugh is going to do our sacred reading.
Mending Wall by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen groundswell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone. But they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves, and some so nearly balls we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on a side. It comes to little more. There where it is we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall and wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not exactly elves, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well, he says it again. Good fences make good neighbors. Amen.
Amen. Again, centering and remembering that there's a part of you that doesn't require a fence. There's a part of you that doesn't have a neighbor because there is only one here. So remember that part of you that is one with the whole, one with the divine, and one with your neighbor. And with that open heart, we'll do our sacred chant. And as we listen to that last note settle, I invite everyone to open our eyes, to be in love with what is as it is, and so it is. morning again. It's me again, Reverend Jennifer. Reverend Bonnie is not here today. She's on a plane going to South Charleston. The Centers for Spiritual Living Convention is in Charleston this coming up week. So that's where she is. That's where I'm heading actually after service. So we'll be out this week. What is my talk today? Lessons and boundaries. I have it. I promise. If you're curious, that is a picture of my oldest son quite a few years ago in one of those balls that they're like a plastic ball, and they put them in there, and then the kids can like hamster ball around on the water. It's a lot of fun for the kid. He was so sweaty and stinky after though. But I thought, boundaries. What's a good example of a boundary? And it's like, yeah, that's one. There's a good one. So, what is a boundary? So boundary is something that I didn't know I had, right? I didn't even know what it was until I started coming here. I never heard of the term or anything. So what is a boundary? So I thought I'll look up I'll cheat. I'll ask Google. So Google had a good one because Google's amazing. So when you set a personal boundary, you're essentially saying, this is what I'm okay with, and this is what I'm not okay with. Personal boundary. This is by Elizabeth Perry. And then her second part to this is effective boundaries protect our personal space, our physical and mental health, and our safety and security. So when I first heard this term boundary, I didn't realize that a boundary really is it's like a uvula, right? That part of the skin that hangs back in the back of your throat. We all have boundaries. Even people who say, I don't have boundaries, they might have poor boundaries, but they have boundaries. Maybe their walls have just seen too many winters and they haven't bothered to fix them, right? So they just got boulders all over the place and they don't have defined boundaries, but they have them. And what happens is we don't realize that there's a problem with our boundaries until they start giving us problems. So, like I said, when I first started coming here, I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I love this idea of a boundary. And I heard something that was fantastic. So this is boundaries run amok, right? Because I find I have boundaries and I find out I can tell people, this is what I'm okay with. And this is what I'm not okay with. And don't you step over that line, right? Don't you? And one of my favorite things that I heard here one Sunday or in a class was, no is a complete sentence. What? I don't have to go, no, because I have this thing. And no. Will you do this? No. Right? So this is, so if you've ever experienced a toddler that has learned the word no, that was me. Nope. No. And it was fabulous. It's very empowering and really great. But it doesn't really get you where you want to be, So it's a neophyte. It's a new way of setting boundaries. It's a putting your toe in the water and testing it. But it's not effective for that definition of, is it healthy? Is it a healthy boundary? Is it protecting you? And is it, keeping you safe and secure? And you want to say, yes, it is. Yes, it is. My no is absolutely keeping me safe and secure. So I'm like, well, what's a good example of that? What's a good example of a no queen other than me? Anybody know what that is? That is Medusa. So I was thinking, who's the perfect no queen? And I'm like, Medusa is the perfect no queen. So for anybody who's not familiar, Medusa is a gorgon from Greek and Roman mythology. And the Greeks just had her as a monster that turned people to stone. But then you have this Roman poet named Ovid, and he gave her a tragic backstory because that's what poets do. So Medusa's tragic backstory is that she's this beautiful maiden. She's the only mortal child of two gods. So she's lovely, and but she doesn't really fit in with her family. And so she goes and she becomes one of Athena's priestesses. So she's in Athena's temple as a priestess. And Poseidon another god, doesn't like Athena. So he starts messing with Medusa, and he starts trying to woo her, and she says no, and she says no, and she says no. And Poseidon finally takes no, won't take no for an answer, and he victimizes, he violates Medusa in the temple. Oh, it's terrible. It really is terrible. Tragic backstory. This is where I'm going to deviate from Ovid, so don't come talk. You can talk to me after service. I love to argue, but this is where I'm going to deviate a little bit from Ovid. So Ovid says Athena shows up and she's angry and she didn't really like Medusa anyway, so she curses Medusa and turns her into the monster with the snakes. Here's my version. Athena shows up, sees the carnage, meets with her priestess, and Medusa says, "This is terrible. I never want this to happen again. And I can't be here, and I don't want this to happen again." That's fair. And Athena goes, "I have an island. I'm going to put you on this island, and you can be there by yourself, and no one will ever mess with you on this island." And Medusa says, "Not good enough. No. You're going to put me on that island, and no. And I need more. I need more." And Athena says, "Okay, I can put you on this island, and I'm going to make you hideous. I'm going to give you these snakes, and I'm going to make you really scary, and no one's going to mess with you, right?" And Medusa is like, "Yeah, no, someone will still come mess with me. I just feel it. I feel it. No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. So I'm not going to be protected enough. I'm not going to be safe enough." And Athena goes, "Okay, how about anybody who looks you in the eye, you turn to stone?" And Medusa goes, winner. Yeah, I like that one. No one will mess with me. I look at them and they just, boom, turn to stone, and I don't have to deal with them. I don't have to deal with their needs, and I'll be by myself, and it'll be great. Boundary queen, right? No queen. And we know that doesn't really work out well for Medusa. So I'm like, well, all right. So Medusa's a great version of what it means that no. She's a good no person. But it doesn't serve her. And saying no all the time doesn't work. So then there's another mythical story that I really have enjoyed lately. It's Lessons in Chemistry about the mythical Elizabeth Zott. And she's not mythical because she's good at chemistry. So anybody who knows me knows that I'm all for that. But there's some other parts of the book that she's amazing. She's this amazing woman. She's a chemist in the 50s and 60s, and she has all of these relationships. She's got a child, and so all these really wonderful examples of boundaries in this book. I'm not going to use any of those. I'm going to use the most obscure part of the book is that Elizabeth Zott, the chemist, her specialty is abiogenesis. Everybody know what abiogenesis is, right? I didn't either, and that's why I was really excited about it, because then I got to research it and look it up. So abiogenesis is this. So super simple, right? So abiogenesis, what Elizabeth Zott in that book is, she's trying to prove, because she's an atheist, and she's trying to prove that you can, in the lab, go from being just chemicals to biology. So the theory is that, that you had Earth, and you had what these probiotics or prebiotics, right? So you had DNA, and you had lipids, and you had protein. You had all this stuff just floating around in the ocean. The Earth is mostly covered in water. You had all of these chemicals, and then some kind of energy source. Chemists and Newtonian scientists will be like, oh, it's electricity or radiation or something. Somehow takes these lipids, so that cell membrane there, that little round thing there. I'll show you a better picture in a second. Lipids form these membranes, and they form these spheres. And if you have DNA inside the sphere, the DNA is all happy, because inside the sphere, it has a perfect boundary to all of this stuff in the ocean, and it's able to reproduce. And that's the little question marks there is when, and nobody can prove it. When does it become chemicals to biology? And no one can prove it. Fascinating, right? I'm like, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to learn about, no, I'm not. I'm going to stay here. But I love that idea, because then you've got this cell membrane. It's the perfect boundary. It's the thing that makes us go from just floating along and just happening, these things are happening to us, and maybe we get the catalyst we need to make something happen, or maybe we don't, and we're just really exposed. And then the cell gets this perfect boundary. So that's a phospholipid bilayer, is that part. And then what happens is inside that layer, you get these really, really cool, well, I think they're cool, like proteins and all of these different, like those little gateways. And each of those gateways is then specifically created and functions to bring things into the cell or to expel things from the cell that isn't needed. So now the DNA that wants to replicate and wants to experience itself and wants to do these things has this wonderful, perfect membrane that as it floats along, it's like, oh, I'm going to need this sugar, and I'm going to need this oxygen, and I'm going to need more water, and I'm going to need salt, or I don't want this salt. And it's able to control its internal environment. It controls its internal environment, it's healthy, and it's happy. So a cell doesn't just say no to everything. It's not that plastic ball that we saw Liam in. A cell has this membrane that is the perfect boundary, and a perfect boundary is semi-permeable. You can't just blow through it, right? You can't just be like, no boundary, I can just grab that DNA out of there and do whatever I want with it. But it's got this perfect boundary. So I'm excited about nature. Isn't that cool? Everybody say, that's amazing. And you have them in your body. Like, we usually have a plant up here and it has it inside it. It's got cell walls and that's the whole thing. But like every cell has these membranes that help control their internal environment and keeps them healthy and safe and happy. And we have that too. We have that ability too. But we're humans. And so we've complicated things. And we've complicated these boundaries. And we've been like, and then we start doing these different things. So I was kind of like, well, why? Why do we do that? Why do I do that to myself? Why do I have, these weird things happening? Why was I so excited to find out I could say no? Why was I so excited, and a new thing that's kind of going with kids and stuff is like teaching kids that you don't have to hug, right? You don't have to hug. You don't have to, and if like, I saw a video where this woman was saying that her daughter didn't like to hug her grandpa. And it's like, oh, and the mom had to hold that boundary for her child, right? They would say, like, she doesn't want to hug today. She's not hugging today, and it's fine, and it's okay. And it's not about grandpa. It's about her keeping herself healthy and happy and her energy bounded. So, but why do we forget that? Why do we tell kids like, no, you have to hug grandpa? And why do we tell ourselves like, you gotta go do this thing that you don't want to do for your aunt, and I want to bake cookies. I don't want to do that. So why do we not say no? So another great teacher, this is from Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. And he says that we do this because we've developed this hypersensitive psyche. We constantly use our energies to close around it and protect ourselves, but this process only hides the problems. It doesn't fix them. You're looking your illness, you're locking your illness inside yourself, and it'll only get worse. Right? So you have the psyche, and the psyche is I think when we were, back when, and we had to kind of figure out how to hide from tigers and stuff, the psyche's kind of like, is that movement over there going to get me? And the psyche says, look, well, we don't have that now. So now our psyche's kind of like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make you worried that Aunt Martha is really mad at you and you're not going to sleep for 3 days. And you're like, oh no, what do I have to do? So I have to build this protective coating around my psyche. And that protective coating could look like yes, could look like always saying yes, always people pleasing, or it can look like Medusa, and it can look like, no, I'm just locked in my house. I don't leave my house. I don't say yes to people. I don't make new friends because I have so much I have to go do for my Aunt Martha that I'm not going to do anything else for anybody else. So that's what it looks like. So what happens when we do that is you've got a big stinky teenager. No, So you build this enclosure around yourself, and nothing can get out and nothing can get in. And you think you've protected yourself, but really you're just festering inside there, just sweating and being gross. All right, it was a really hard day for me when he was in that ball. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to stink. We want boundaries that are this. This is what we're looking for, right? We're looking for effective boundaries to protect our personal space, our physical and mental health, and our safety and security. So, if we have this psyche that's saying, oh, we're protecting ourselves, we have to start saying, are we though? So, how to build a boundary, right? We don't want to be Medusa all the time. I mean, there are some people you might know. No, you don't want to be Medusa ever. Medusa is not healthy. She seems like she's protected. She's not. We want a cell membrane, right? This is what we're going for in our stuff. But what happens when we have really difficult people? Really difficult people. It could be anything. It could be the neighbor that thinks that you shouldn't feed hummingbirds because hummingbirds are aggressive. I have heard that from a neighbor. It could be it could be a close friend that all of a sudden has political slants that you're like, what rabbit hole did you fall down? I mean, it could be any of these things. And it can come up and you could be walking along going, I have great boundaries. I have been going to church and I have been taking classes and I have beautiful boundaries. I am a membrane. I'm giving and taking. And then something can come up and you could be like, no, not you. No. And you feel like that's a good boundary, right? I'm not going to talk politics with Uncle George. And maybe that's what you need to do. Or maybe you have to do an internal questioning. Okay, we're going to use the political thing. I wasn't going to because because we don't talk politics, right? We don't. Absolutely not. We don't talk politics. Oof. So if you have a person that you don't talk politics with and you have that boundary, like we don't talk politics ever, are you protecting the boundary because for your health? Maybe. I mean, if that person is violent about their political stance, or you're walking along and there's a march or something and you don't agree with whatever they're marching for, your boundary could be, well, I'm just going to walk over here. It does. You're protecting your health. Absolutely do that, right? Don't be like, Jennifer said that my membrane's going to protect me. Right? Don't do that. Please don't do that. Like, be mindful. Are you protecting your energy? Maybe you aren't to the point where you can stay calm and have this conversation, and you're going to get real sweaty and upset. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But if you're not there yet, then don't go there. It's not time. It's not your time to do. But if you're like, no, that's not it. Is it the part of your psyche that is right? I cannot believe Uncle George thinks this atrocious thing and he's spewing this stuff, and I am so right and he is so wrong. I'm right. Well, if you're so right, you don't really need to throw a tantrum. If you're so right, there's nothing that you have to protect. Reverend Bonnie loves to say that when someone says something to you and when you find yourself getting activated and offended, it's because there's some little part of you that believes it. So if there's some little part of you that believes that maybe you're not right, you will build that bubble around this opinion or this way of being. And so you're setting yourself apart. So really, I'm not going to stand up here and say, you have to do this yourself. I know that's terrible. I know you guys wanted to, but you have to really ask yourself, what is this boundary that I'm setting, and why am I setting it, and what am I protecting? So, no, that's not where I'm going. What is the next one? So this is another metaphor, because I just couldn't help myself this time. So I look at it like this. We're going to shift from protecting, from encapsulating, from Medusa Island stone, an opinion, or whatever this certain discomfort that's coming up. So Michael Singer says, get rid of it. Does it make you uncomfortable? Get rid of it. And I'm like, where's the fun in that? Like, so I don't want to get rid of it. I want to figure out what it is. I want to see how it works. I want to take it apart. And then I want to make it so that it helps me. I'm going to make it work for me. Because if I get rid of all this stuff, what's going to be left? Like, I'm going to sit up on top of a hill somewhere, like in the lotus position. I'm not going to be any fun at parties. So I want to stay fun at parties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, alone, don't do this with Uncle George in the room, alone, I'm going to pull out this idea and go, oh, geez, look at this. It's all root bound, right? Look at how this is a mess. You got to loosen it up. You got to find out what is the root of this discomfort. What's the problem here? Give it some air. And then you build a new boundary. And you build a new boundary that allows it to grow and it allows it to figure itself out. You give it that space. And when it has that space, then you can have the discussion with Uncle George. And maybe when you give it that space, you realize like, no, Uncle George is an idiot. And I'm not going to have that discussion. That's fine too. I pick on poor Uncle George. It's okay. He's not watching. So, but, and I'm not going to say what it's going to be. And it's not going to all be rainbows and unicorns. It's work. But it's worth doing because it helps you evolve and it helps you learn and it helps you feel better and it helps that transform that discomfort into a lesson, transform that discomfort into comfort. Okay, I got myself all sweaty up here. So what we want to protect, I'm wrapping it up. I'm not wrapping it up here. So we want to protect our health and our energy. 100%. That's part of being human. That's that part of that. That's the, we're not just DNA floating around here to reproduce and that's what we're here for. We're here as conscious beings. You are each individualized parts of the divine and you've come down here to experience, we're here to experience each other and we're here to experience ourselves as ourselves. So that's what we're here to do. And it's hard to do that if you don't protect your health and you don't protect, and by energy, I mean, your mental health and your internal happiness. So 100%, all your boundaries should protect those. That's the one and the only time you'll hear me should in here. So, but what you evolve by is releasing. So we're going to release our righteousness. This is really hard for me because I am so righteous about things. Oh my gosh. We don't talk politics here, but when we're not here sometime, you guys can ask me what I'm righteous about, and I'll tell you, because I can't help myself. But we're releasing that righteousness. If you need help releasing some of the righteousness, that book, The 4 Pivots, that Bonnie did last month, and the first part of this month, Reverend Bonnie was talking about, it's fantastic to really tweezing out what that means to you and how it's seen by other people. So we're going to release our righteousness. And then when we can release that righteousness, then we can settle into the knowing. And the knowing is that the truth doesn't require protection. Everybody heard Bill, right? Talk about we're all God. And if you're new to the center, or new-ish to the center, that might seem a little odd. Might seem a little strange. Uncle George is God. Yes, Uncle George is God. I'm God. What about, oh no, I'm not. You did not see me Friday night. You did not see me Sunday after the Super Bowl when my team was erroneously fine or whatever, right? Like, I don't think I was very divine then. Hunter, you were divine then too. It's amazing. It's so fun. So there's this part of you that is true. This is a part of you that is true. The ultimate truth is that there is only one consciousness. There is only one divine. It is the golden thread through all religious teachings, all philosophies. There is only one divine. And if there's only one divine, we are each part of that divine. So that divine decided to incarnate as us. So we are divine, and that's the truth of who we are. And no one can say that. So that we're not. All right. Last example, and then we'll close with an affirmation. I'm going to do another role play here. So let's say that maybe you made a commitment that you didn't really care to make. Let's say this was a long time ago, before you started coming to the church here. And you made a commitment and you've realized, like, you kind of noticed that you're always late for this commitment. Let's say it's a weekly meeting for Junior League of Bakersfield. I don't know. And you go to the meeting, and you get to the meeting, and you're there, but you're always just kind of short. You're late, and you don't always have all your stuff together, and you're not really doing everything. And let's say the chairperson looks at you and goes, "You're a flake." What? You're a flake. As far as I'm concerned, you're a flake. Squeeze me. Pre-center Jennifer was like, "Oh." Actually, pre-center Jennifer almost burst into tears and was just like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry," and went home and called her mom and was like, "Oh, I'm a flake." Oh. And my mom's like, "I can't believe she said that about you." And then I got that Medusa boundary going, right? Like, well, I am just not going to be on her committees anymore. Now, if I were getting a call from that Jennifer now, I'd be like, let's examine this whole thing. Let's discern. Let's see what's going on. She said, "You're a flake." Are you a flake? Well, not normally, right? Normally I'm 15 minutes early, and normally I have all my stuff together. But for some reason with this person, I'm not. Well, there's probably some level of you're not really interested in doing what she needs you to do, and you're not the right person for it. And we can work that out. And then you go back to that woman and you say, "I am so sorry, you are correct. I have been negligent, and I have had shortcomings. And so I apologize for my misdeeds. And I am not a flake. I am not a flake. I am usually really, really good at things. And for some reason, I can't get it together for you. And so we're either going to have to work it out, or I'm going to have to take a step aside. And in the future, I will appreciate that you do not call me names when I don't do things that you want me to do." Chills, right? Chills, right? And that's the boundary. That's the permeable boundary. And now she can be like, "I'll call you whatever I want." And then there's that back and forth. But that was my boundary. That's the boundary that helps keep my energy healthy, helps keep my mental health intact. And it helps me still function. And, old people pleasing me was like, "Oh, I'll bend over backwards and I'll do all of these things." And I was unhappy. And she was unhappy with me because she was still had all this anger about things. Her boundary wasn't well defined either. So that's what I'm talking about when you have something come up. That's where the boundary is. And it's going to be different for everybody. I mean, I'm going to call him out. Bill, if someone tells him he's a flake, he just laughs because he takes nothing personally because no part of him believes it's true. He knows who he is. Our kids, you raise them here, and I'm sorry for everybody that has little kids that are over there learning that they're the face of God, because disciplining them is impossible because they're just like, "Yeah, I'm the face of God. I don't take it personally." It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And not all of us are there yet. And if you're not there yet, that's when you set that boundary, and it's healthy, and it keeps you healthy. So I'm going to close on an affirmation. We can all say it together as soon as it pops up. My boundaries keep me safe and secure while allowing me to grow and evolve. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. So taking a deep breath in and anchoring in that truth. That truth that we are all one with the infinite creator, the infinite source, the infinite observer. Every single one of us are this divine entity having individualized expressions right here and right now. And knowing that truth for every single person that hears my voice right now, I know that we express our self-love and our self-worth beautifully in the world. I know that we are all protected. We are all protected. Our health, our energy, our boundaries are safe and secure without being stifling, without being suffocating. And I'm grateful that everybody here can function in the world this way. Grateful for everybody that said yes to the center. Grateful to know this truth for everyone. And I release my word into the infinite and universal law. And together we say, and so it is. It's Bernie. Bernie's gonna.
Maybe a little more awake now.
Well, now you're on proper
Oh,
time,
proper
right?
time. Thank God. Boundaries.
Boundaries.
Awesome. And the beautiful thing about boundaries is it is our inside job.
Yeah.
And so it's all about what is our value and
Mhm.
what is our connection and commitment and how do we build our community of people that are going to be working with us, not against us. And we get to determine whether it's
Yeah, for us.
heart-based.
Yes.
Oh, wait, is that about love? Oh, no.
More
love. Well, this morning we are doing, and you said it was on the table here.
Oh.
Okay, there it is underneath. Help, help, help. Okay, really not awake. Thank you.
It's down here on the bottom. You want me to hold it up?
No, I got it. Thanks.
Okay.
I was a last minute throw in. I was going to have another job today, and our normal Lonnie person was called to something else that was much more important.
Yes, she is
Not
serving.
more important than you, but
She is in service.
part of our community effort.
Yes.
So if you will repeat after me, we're doing our collection now, and repeat after me. We trust in spirit.
We trust in spirit.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
Love is the giver and receiver of all that we are.
We offer this gift.
We offer this gift.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
It is an outer expression of our inner abundance and compassion.
Our gift blesses many
Our gift blesses many
and returns to us multiplied in miraculous ways,
and returns to us multiplied in miraculous ways,
so that we may give again.
so that we may give again.
And so it is.
You guys stand up there. I'll stay up here with you guys. I I'm like, I don't know what's happening. David's always the last one up here. Thank you, choir and our youth. That was so precious. Thank you so much. So really quick, just a few announcements. If you have any questions about anything that I go over, we have everything's on our website, www.venturacsl.org. And if you have any questions beyond that, we have ambassadors. They have teal stoles. Today it's Mike and Mark. I don't see Mike, but they'll have teal stoles on. Or you can ask Linda or Lacey. They're going to be at the concierge desk back here in the social hall. Let's see what's coming up. Mental Equivalence is an accredited class. It starts tomorrow. It goes for 5 weeks from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. It's in person, and it's a 5-week journey that opens the vault to how to for tangible manifestation of what you really want in your life, and it's priceless pricing. So if you're interested, talk to Linda. Again, it's on the website. Next month, we have a new meetup group that's going to be happening on Wednesdays called Science and Spirituality Wednesday Discussion Group. It starts March 20th, and it'll be every third Wednesday. And that's going to be facilitated by Mari and Peter. And this is a monthly gathering as we boldly explore strange new worlds of quantum physics and consciousness that parallel what the mystics have been teaching for millennia. So Peter, give a wave right there. There's Peter. If you're curious about that, go find him. And if you want to geek out about cell membranes, I'm sure Peter will be more than open to, to that. Next Sunday, Reverend Bonnie will be back, and we're going to have Gino in the house. So Gino, if you don't know, Gino's a fabulous singer. She used to come here quite a bit, and then she got a permanent gig down in San Diego. So we're really lucky to get her to come up. So she'll be singing and doing the message. And then after service will be our annual meeting. So you can come out and find out how all of 2023 went. If you'd like an electronic copy of the report, send an email to office@venturacsl.org, and I can send you an electronic copy, and we can cut down on how much paper we're using in printing. So, but if not, we'll have copies of the report for you, and you can see how wonderful the center and how much we've thrived in the last year. Everything else is there's the social hall. If you're new, there's a social hall behind here. So we have coffee and tea and hot chocolate and some snacky treats. We have a bookstore that's got a ton of really great books and really great people in there to talk to. And we have in here, if you have anything that you would like prayer for, our practitioners who have the white stoles, several of them will be down here, and they would love to pray. They're called 1-minute miracles. So if you have something you're celebrating or something that you're trying to work through, or maybe you need some help with figuring out how to set a boundary, talk to one of the practitioners. They would love to pray with you. And that is it. So I'm going to pray us out. Taking that deep breath in. And once again, settling into that truth of the divine, that truth of oneness, that truth of wholeness, that truth of connection. I know that this morning is blessed. And I know that everyone here carries this blessing in their hearts. I know everyone that hears this prayer is blessed. And I know a blessing for anyone that doesn't even know we exist. I bless temples, mosques, ashrams, gurdwaras, atheist fundamentalists. I know that everyone we meet is a blessing. I know that we take this love with us and this blessing with us, and that ripples out into our world beautifully, joyfully, and kindly. And I'm grateful to know that truth. Grateful to know the kindness that is Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. Grateful to know the love that is Ventura Center for Spiritual Living. Grateful to know the love that is God. And I release my word into the infinite and universal law, and together we say, and so it is.